Life will test you. You will face setbacks, disappointments, and moments where you feel like everything is against you. That's a guarantee. But here's the real question. How do you respond? Do you let life break you, or do you use those challenges to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient? Mentally strong people don't crumble under pressure. They don't allow fear, doubt, or negativity to control them. Instead, they build a mindset that allows them to face anything with clarity, confidence, and inner peace. This isn't about pretending life is easy. It's about mastering yourself so that no matter what happens, you remain unshaken. The ancient Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man of his time, wrote to himself every day, reminding himself that life is unpredictable, that hardships are inevitable, but that his response was always within his control. He knew that true strength doesn't come from avoiding difficulties, but from training your mind to rise above them. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. The 6 habits that separate the mentally strong from everyone else. These aren't just theories, they're practical, battle-tested principles that you can start applying today to build an unshakable mindset. So stay with me until the very end, because every single point we're about to discuss is crucial. Don't skip around or you'll miss the key that could change everything for you. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, there's one simple free favor I'll ask. Hit that subscribe button. It takes a second, but it makes a huge difference in helping us keep bringing you valuable content. Now, let's dive in. Nothing in life stays the same. The seasons change, people come and go, and the world keeps moving, whether we're ready for it or not. Yet so many of us resist change as if clinging to what's familiar will somehow stop the inevitable. But let me ask you this. Has holding on ever made life easier, or has it only made transitions more painful? We fear change because it forces us out of our comfort zones. It disrupts our routines, shakes our sense of control, and makes us question where we're headed. But here's the truth. Change is not the enemy. The real danger lies in resisting it, because the more you fight against reality, the more suffering you create for yourself. The ancient Stoics understood this well. They didn't waste energy wishing things were different. Instead, they trained themselves to adapt, to see every shift in life as an opportunity rather than a threat. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, ruled an empire during war, plague, and betrayal. He could have spent his days complaining, asking, "Why is this happening to me?" But instead, he reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the very obstacles we fear are often the path forward. If we learn to work with change instead of against it, we become stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling whatever life throws at us. Think about it. When has something unexpected forced you to grow? Maybe it was losing a job, ending a relationship, or moving to a new place. At first, it probably felt overwhelming, even painful, but looking back, didn't it also shape you into who you are today? The problem is, we only see the wisdom in change after we've survived it. But what if we could shift our mindset while we're going through it? What if instead of resisting, we asked ourselves, what is this teaching me? How can I use this to my advantage? The Stoics had a saying, amor fati, which means love your fate. Not just accept it, not just tolerate it, love it. Love the challenges. Love the unexpected detours. Love the things that push you to grow, even when they don't feel good in the moment. Because every change, no matter how difficult, is shaping you into someone stronger. And here's the key. Mentally strong people lean into discomfort. They don't wait for perfect conditions to take action. They don't waste energy wishing things would go back to the way they were. They adapt. They adjust their sails to the winds of change instead of fighting the current, and in doing so, they remain steady no matter how stormy life gets. So, the next time change comes knocking, and it will, pause for a moment. Instead of reacting with fear, ask yourself, how can I use this? Because when you stop resisting change, you start mastering it. And that's the mindset that will carry you through anything. You've probably had moments where your emotions got the best of you, where anger led to an argument you later regretted, or fear held you back from taking an opportunity that could have changed your life. We've all been there. Emotions are powerful, and when left unchecked, they can control our actions, dictate our decisions, and even shape the course of our lives. But here's the thing. Mentally strong people don't let their emotions control them. They control their emotions. Now, that doesn't mean they suppress what they feel. Stoicism isn't about becoming an emotionless robot. It's about mastering your reactions. The Stoics understood that emotions in themselves aren't the problem. It's our response to them that determines whether they serve us or destroy us. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about the last time someone said something that irritated you. Maybe a rude comment, an unfair criticism, or even just someone cutting you off in traffic. What was your first instinct? To react immediately? To lash out? That's what most people do. But what if instead you paused for a second and asked yourself, is this worth my energy? Will this matter tomorrow? That small pause, that moment of awareness, is the difference between being ruled by your emotions and mastering them. Seneca, another great Stoic, advised that when anger rises, don't act on it right away. Give it time to settle. Because in the heat of the moment, we often make choices that we later regret. And isn't that true? How many times have we said or done something in an emotional state, only to look back and wish we had handled it differently? The truth is, emotions are like the weather. Unpredictable, constantly changing, and often beyond our control. But just like a sailor doesn't try to control the wind, we shouldn't try to suppress our emotions. Instead, we should learn to navigate them. A skilled sailor adjusts their sails, knowing that the storm will pass. And in the same way, mentally strong people acknowledge their emotions, but refuse to let them steer the ship. Now, does this mean we should ignore how we feel? Not at all. The Stoics weren't about denying emotions, but rather understanding them. When fear shows up, ask, what is this fear trying to tell me? When sadness appears, ask, what lesson is hidden here? Emotions can be teachers if we learn to listen without letting them take over. And here's where it gets really powerful. Once you realize that you decide how to respond, nothing can shake you. Insults lose their sting. Failures become stepping stones. Unexpected events no longer throw you off balance because you understand that your power lies in your reaction, not in the event itself. So the next time you feel anger, fear, or frustration rising, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that you are in control. Your emotions do not define you, your actions do. And the stronger your ability to manage your emotions, the stronger you become in every aspect of life. Your time and energy are your most valuable resources, yet they're also the easiest to give away. Every day, people pull you in different directions. Work demands your attention. Friends ask for favors. Family needs your support. And social media constantly fights for a piece of your mind. Before you know it, you're exhausted, stretched thin, and left with nothing for yourself. But here's the truth. Mentally strong people don't let the world dictate where their energy goes. They set boundaries and protect their space like their life depends on it, because in many ways it does. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that our most precious asset isn't money or possessions. It's our inner peace. And yet, most of us give it away without thinking twice. Seneca warned against this when he said, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." Think about that for a moment. If someone tried to take money from your pocket, you'd resist. But when people take your time, your most irreplaceable asset, you give it away freely. Why? Maybe it's guilt, maybe it's fear of disappointing others, maybe it's the habit of always putting others first. But here's the thing, saying yes to everyone else all the time means saying no to yourself, and mentally strong people don't do that. They understand that without clear boundaries, they'll never have the time or energy to focus on what truly matters, whether that's their goals, their health, or their peace of mind. So, how do you start setting boundaries? First, recognize that it's not selfish, it's necessary. Saying no to something that drains you doesn't mean you don't care. It means you value yourself enough to protect your well-being. You wouldn't let someone walk into your home and trash the place. So why let people invade your mental space with negativity, unnecessary obligations, or constant distractions? One of the biggest misconceptions about boundaries is that they push people away. But in reality, the right people respect boundaries. The ones who don't, they were never meant to have full access to you in the first place. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, the people and energy you allow into your life shape who you become. If you surround yourself with constant stress, drama, and obligations that don't serve you, don't be surprised if you feel drained, anxious, or lost. Now let's talk about practical ways to set boundaries. First, identify what truly matters to you. What are your priorities? What fuels your energy instead of depleting it? Once you're clear on that, it becomes easier to say no to everything that doesn't align with those values. Next, practice the art of saying no without over-explaining. You don't owe anyone a detailed justification for protecting your time. A simple, "I can't commit to that right now" is enough. And most importantly, don't feel guilty. Protecting your energy isn't an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-respect. If you don't prioritize yourself, no one else will do it for you. At the end of the day, setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about making sure you have enough energy for what truly matters. When you stop saying yes to every demand and start saying yes to yourself, you'll notice something incredible. You feel lighter, more focused, and in control of your life. And that, my friend, is the foundation of true mental strength. Life doesn't always go the way we want. We face setbacks, make mistakes, and sometimes find ourselves in situations that feel unfair. It's easy to blame circumstances, point fingers, or tell ourselves that we're just unlucky. But here's the hard truth. Mentally strong people don't waste time making excuses. They take full responsibility for their actions, their choices, and ultimately their lives. The Stoics believed that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Epictetus put it best when he said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." That's what real strength looks like. Owning your decisions, learning from your mistakes, and refusing to see yourself as a victim of life's circumstance. Think about the most successful, resilient people you know. Do they sit around complaining about how unfair life is, or do they take action, adjust, and find a way forward? The difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck isn't intelligence, talent, or luck, it's responsibility. When you own your actions, you take back your power. When you blame others, you give that power away. Now, taking responsibility doesn't mean being overly critical of yourself or beating yourself up for past mistakes. That's not the point. The goal isn't to drown in guilt, it's to learn and improve. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, believed that every failure was an opportunity for self-reflection. He advised that at the end of each day we should review our actions and ask, what did I do well? What could I have done better? What will I improve tomorrow? That's how you grow, not by avoiding mistakes, but by using them as stepping stones. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Think of a challenge you're facing right now. Maybe it's a financial issue, a relationship struggle, or a personal goal you haven't achieved yet. Instead of blaming external factors, ask yourself, what part of this is within my control? What actions can I take to improve this situation? It's a shift in mindset that changes everything. The truth is, life will throw obstacles your way. You'll face difficult people, unexpected problems, and moments where things feel unfair. But the strongest people, the ones who truly thrive, are the ones who don't waste energy complaining. They adapt, they take ownership, they look at every setback as a lesson, not a punishment. So the next time you catch yourself making an excuse, pause. Ask yourself, is this helping me or is it holding me back? Because at the end of the day, no one else is responsible for your success, your happiness, or your growth. That's on you. And once you fully embrace that truth, you become unstoppable. We are often our own worst critics. When we make a mistake, fall short of our goals, or struggle with something, the voice inside our head can be ruthless. Why did I mess up again? I should be doing better. I'll never get this right. If someone spoke to us the way we sometimes speak to ourselves, we wouldn't tolerate it. Yet, for some reason we allow that harsh inner dialogue to run unchecked. But here's the truth. Mentally strong people don't tear themselves down. They practice self-compassion, not self-criticism. The Stoics had a deep understanding of human imperfection. They didn't expect themselves or anyone else to be flawless. Instead, they focused on progress, on learning, on growing, on improving. Marcus Aurelius in Meditations reminded himself, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's a powerful shift in perspective. Instead of dwelling on past mistakes, the Stoics encourage people to wake up each day with a renewed sense of purpose and self-acceptance. Think about this. When a friend makes a mistake, what do you say? You probably encourage them, remind them that they are human, and tell them to learn from it and move forward. Now, why don't we do the same for ourselves? Why do we hold ourselves to impossible standards, expecting perfection while accepting the flaws of others? Self-compassion isn't about making excuses. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a close friend. Let's be real. You will make mistakes. You will have days where you feel like you're failing, where nothing seems to go right. But beating yourself up over it doesn't make you better. It makes you hesitant, fearful, and doubtful of your own abilities. The Stoics believed that the mind is like a garden. What you plant is what grows. If you constantly feed it negative thoughts, don't be surprised when self-doubt takes over. But if you practice self-compassion, you create an environment where resilience, confidence, and self-respect can flourish. So, how do you start? First, pay attention to your inner dialogue. When you catch yourself in negative self-talk, stop. Ask yourself, would I say this to someone I care about? If the answer is no, then why say it to yourself? Second, learn from your mistakes instead of dwelling on them. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Every challenge, every failure is shaping you into a stronger version of yourself. Finally, remind yourself that growth takes time. You don't become wise overnight. You don't develop resilience in a day. Progress is slow, and that's okay. As long as you're moving forward, you're on the right path. The next time you feel tempted to criticize yourself, take a deep breath and reframe it. Instead of "I should have done better," try "I'm learning and improving." Instead of "I always mess up," try "This is a setback, not a defeat." That small shift in language makes a world of difference. At the end of the day, the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who fall, get up, and keep moving without tearing themselves down in the process. That's the real power of self-compassion. There is no finish line when it comes to growth. The moment you think you know everything, the moment you believe you've reached your peak, that's when you start to decline. Life is always moving, always changing, and those who refuse to learn, adapt, and evolve will eventually find themselves stuck, watching as the world passes them by. But mentally strong people understand something crucial. Growth is a lifelong process. There is no point at which you arrive. You keep learning, keep improving, keep refining yourself until your very last breath. The Stoics embodied this mindset. Marcus Aurelius, despite being the most powerful man in the world, never saw himself as above learning. Every day he read, wrote, and reflected, reminding himself of his own limitations and the vastness of what he didn't know. He once wrote, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, challenges, failures, and even setbacks are all opportunities to grow. But you have to be willing to learn from them. Many people think learning stops after school or after they reach a certain level of success. But the truth is, your ability to keep growing determines how far you go in life. The moment you stop challenging yourself, stop seeking new knowledge, stop stepping outside your comfort zone, that's when you start to stagnate. And stagnation for a strong mind is worse than failure, because at least failure teaches you something. Stagnation just keeps you in the same place, year after year, wondering why nothing is changing. So, how do you make lifelong learning a habit? First, develop intellectual humility. Understand that no matter how much you know, there is always more to learn. Seneca believed that wisdom is not in knowing all the answers, but in seeking them relentlessly. He wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." That means reading books, having deep conversations, and studying new skills, not because you have to, but because growth itself is the reward. Second, embrace failure as part of the learning process. People who are afraid of looking foolish, of making mistakes, of stepping into the unknown, they never grow. Why? Because they avoid the very experiences that teach the most. Every time you fail, every time you struggle, you gain something invaluable: wisdom. But only if you choose to see failure as a lesson rather than a defeat. Third, challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone regularly. Growth doesn't happen in routine. It happens in discomfort, in uncertainty, in the moments when you don't have all the answers. The Stoics believed that we should seek out difficult things, not because suffering is the goal, but because growth is. Epictetus taught that we should train our minds the way an athlete trains their body, through discipline, challenge, and continuous improvement. And finally, never let ego stop you from evolving. One of the biggest barriers to learning is thinking you already know enough. The wisest people never assume they have it all figured out. They ask questions. They listen more than they speak. They remain open to new perspectives, even if they challenge their existing beliefs. That's why truly strong people, mentally, emotionally, and intellectually, are always growing. At the end of the day, life rewards those who are willing to adapt. The world changes, industries evolve, people grow. If you refuse to evolve with it, you'll get left behind. But if you commit to lifelong learning, to challenging yourself, to staying curious and open, you'll never stop growing. And that, more than anything, is what keeps you strong. Life isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about becoming strong enough to face anything. The habits we've talked about today aren't just ideas. They're tools that can help you navigate challenges, master your emotions, and build the kind of mindset that nothing can break. But remember, knowledge alone isn't enough. You have to apply it every single day. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, am I embracing change or resisting it? Am I in control of my emotions or letting them control me? Am I protecting my time, taking responsibility, practicing self-compassion, and continuing to learn? Because this daily practice is what separates those who live with strength from those who crumble under life's weight. Did you know that the choices you make today can add or subtract years from your life? This idea traces back to ancient Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to embrace life's chaos with wisdom and make choices that enhance our well-being. You might not think much of it when you decide to stay up late to finish just one more episode or scroll through your phone, but each night of insufficient sleep is quietly stealing a little more from you than just time. It's compromising your health, vitality, and even your ability to think clearly. In the realm of Stoicism, Seneca warned about overindulging in the unnecessary at the expense of our health and peace of mind, and sleep, undeniably, is one of the pillars of both. When we cut corners on sleep, we're not just facing a groggy morning. We're impacting our body's ability to regenerate. Sleep is that golden chain that ties our health and our bodies together. It's the prime time when our body engages in repairing cells, flushing out toxins from the brain, and solidifying memories. Missing out on adequate sleep disrupts these processes, accelerating our aging and even impacting our metabolism and mood. Consider this. Ongoing research in neurology shows that during sleep, our brain essentially cleans house. It removes toxins that accumulate throughout the day, akin to how the ancient Stoics believed in cleansing the soul of unnecessary fears and desires to achieve clarity and peace. Without enough sleep, we're letting those toxins build up night after night, which can lead to long-term detriments in cognitive functions and overall health. Life often feels like a high-speed chase that we didn't sign up for. With stress as the relentless driver pushing us to our limit, it's easy to overlook how this invisible pressure can accumulate and sculpt our daily existence, not just emotionally but physically, accelerating our aging process. Stoic philosophy, particularly the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, reminds us that while we cannot control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. And when it comes to stress, our response could mean the difference between thriving and merely surviving. Stress, in its essence, is your body's call to arms, the fight-or-flight response that was crucial for our ancestors' survival. But in our modern world, this response can become chronic, triggered not by life-threatening dangers, but by daily demands and disruptions. When we allow this state to become our status quo, it starts chipping away at our biological health, shortening those crucial telomeres, protective caps at the ends of our chromosomes that keep our DNA stable, and thus directly impact our longevity. The Stoics taught that peace comes from within, suggesting that we can build resilience to stress through perspective and practice. They weren't just being poetic. Modern science backs this up, showing that meditation, controlled breathing, and mindfulness are effective tools for reducing stress. These practices help recalibrate our physiological responses and can significantly lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone that, when left unchecked, wreaks havoc on our bodies, contributing to everything from inflammation to weakened immune systems. It's tempting to reach for that quick meal solution after a long, exhausting day. Fast food takeouts or those packaged meals that only need a few minutes in the microwave. We often eat not just with our stomachs but with our eyes and schedules, forgetting that every morsel we consume builds or degrades our health. Stoic philosophy, particularly its emphasis on moderation and mindfulness, offers profound guidance on this topic. Just as Seneca advised against filling one's life with unnecessary pursuits, we should avoid filling our bodies with low-nutrient, high-calorie foods that don't serve our health. Every meal is an opportunity to nourish your body and soul, echoing the Stoic principle of purposeful living. Consider the profound impact of food on your body's functions. Cells regenerate, energies are replenished, and mental acuity is maintained based on the quality of your nutrition. Poor eating habits can lead to a cascade of health issues, from increased inflammation and reduced ability to fight off diseases to more visible signs of aging and decreased energy levels. Eating well, in contrast, can support longer telomeres, which are essential components in the fight against the biological aging process. The Stoics understood the value of self-discipline and control, and applying these to our diet can transform our health. Incorporating a balance of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins isn't just about adhering to dietary guidelines. It's about respecting your body's inherent worth and potential. This approach aligns with the Stoic ideal of aligning actions with nature and reason. By choosing meals that are as close to their natural state as possible, we honor our body's natural design, which thrives on whole, unprocessed foods. You might find it surprising to hear that your couch, often a haven of comfort after a long day, could be one of your biggest adversaries in maintaining a healthy lifestyle. It's so easy to collapse into its welcoming embrace and stay there, binging the latest series or scrolling endlessly through our phones. But this very comfort can lead to a sedentary lifestyle, which is silently but steadily taking a toll on our health. The Stoics often emphasized the importance of physical activity as part of a balanced life. They understood that a sound mind resides in a sound body, and that neglecting physical health could hinder one's ability to practice virtues like discipline and self-control. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic himself and a Roman emperor, despite his extensive duties, made it a point to incorporate physical exercise into his daily routine, understanding its critical role in maintaining not only physical but also mental strength. In today's world, a sedentary lifestyle has become more prevalent due to technological advances that encourage us to stay stationary. What we often don't realize is that by not moving, we're robbing our body of its basic need for physical exertion, which can result in a variety of health issues, from cardiovascular diseases to a decline in mental health. Physical inactivity slows down our metabolism, reduces the effectiveness of blood circulation, and can lead to muscle and joint issues, making us age faster physically and mentally. Integrating movement into our daily routine is not just about avoiding health problems, it's about enhancing our quality of life. The Stoics would advise us to challenge our body's limits and capabilities as a form of self-improvement, and to live in accordance with nature, which inherently involves movement. You don't need to become a marathon runner overnight or hit the gym for hours every day. Simple, consistent activities like taking a walk during lunch breaks, using stairs instead of elevators, standing up and stretching every hour during long periods of sitting, or engaging in hobbies that require physical movement can make a profound difference. Think about the last time you really quenched your thirst with a refreshing glass of water. It feels revitalizing, doesn't it? Often, we underestimate the power of staying hydrated, ignoring our body's cries for water until we feel the undeniable signs of thirst. Yet, maintaining adequate hydration is not just about quelling thirst. It's a fundamental aspect of health that too many of us overlook, much to our detriment. Drawing from Stoic philosophy, which teaches the importance of attending to our natural needs with simplicity and purpose, staying hydrated aligns perfectly with living a life in harmony with nature. Seneca, one of the most notable Stoics, emphasized the need for balance and argued against indulgence, excess, or deficiency, including in our diet and basic care of our bodies. Water, the most natural beverage, is crucial for maintaining this balance, supporting every cellular process in our body. Dehydration is a subtle thief. It slowly undermines our health, impacting everything from cognitive function and energy levels to skin health and digestion. Each cell in our body requires water to function optimally. Without adequate water, our cells start to shrivel, hampering their ability to generate energy and leading to premature aging and decreased bodily function. The skin, which is our largest organ, visibly reflects our hydration levels. Adequate water intake helps maintain its elasticity and vibrancy. Warding off signs of aging, like wrinkles and dryness, a golden tan might be seen as a hallmark of health and vitality, symbolizing leisurely days spent outdoors or on vacation. However, it's worth considering the Stoic perspective that appearances can be deceptive, and what seems beneficial on the surface may carry hidden risks. The sun, as life-giving and essential as it is, can be a double-edged sword when it comes to our health, particularly when we indulge in it without moderation or protection. The Stoics, always advocates for living in harmony with nature, would surely have appreciated the sun's vital role. Yet they would also have been the first to remind us of the importance of self-control and rational behavior. Just as they would counsel moderation in all things, they would likely advise us to enjoy the sun's embrace wisely. Excessive sun exposure can lead to premature aging of the skin, not to mention more serious health risks like skin cancer. The UV rays that make those beach days so memorable are the same ones that can cause damage to the DNA in our skin cells, leading to accelerated skin aging and increased health risks. When we expose ourselves to the sun without adequate protection, we're not just risking a painful sunburn. UV radiation penetrates deep into the skin and disrupts the normal process of skin cell growth. Over time, this leads to changes in skin texture, loss of elasticity, and the formation of wrinkles and sunspots. It's almost paradoxical how a habit such as smoking, often started under the guise of enhancing social interactions or alleviating stress, can so drastically reduce both the quality and duration of one's life. The momentary pleasure of a cigarette can have lasting negative impacts, something that, from a Stoic perspective, would be seen as a clear divergence from living a life based on rational choices and good health. The Stoics taught us the importance of self-mastery and control over one's impulses and desires. Smoking, with its addictive nature and harmful consequences, is a prime example of what happens when short-term desires override long-term well-being. Every puff of a cigarette introduces thousands of chemicals into the body, including nicotine, which is highly addictive and toxic. It's not just the lungs that are affected. Smoking impacts nearly every organ in the body, contributing to a variety of diseases and chronically undermining one's health. From a Stoic standpoint, engaging in an activity that knowingly damages one's body contradicts the principle of living according to nature. The body's nature is to heal and maintain itself, but smoking impedes this natural ability, causing harm that is entirely preventable. The damage begins with diminished lung capacity and can extend to heart disease, stroke, and multiple types of cancer, not to mention the cosmetic effects such as premature aging of the skin and staining of teeth. Quitting smoking is not just about avoiding negative outcomes. It's a profound way to practice Stoic virtues like discipline and foresight, actively choosing a healthier path not only for yourself but also setting an example for those around you. While a glass of wine or a pint of beer might be how many of us choose to unwind after a long day, there's a fine line between moderate enjoyment and excess that can easily be crossed. This is particularly poignant when considering the Stoic emphasis on moderation and self-control, virtues that guide us to make decisions that align with our long-term well-being rather than immediate gratification. The Stoics were advocates for living a life that was free from the control of desires and passions, and this certainly extends to how we might choose to engage with alcohol. Excessive drinking not only clouds judgment in the moment, but also has far-reaching effects on our health. Alcohol is a hepatotoxin, which means it specifically damages the liver, an organ essential to detoxifying our body. Over time, this can lead to liver diseases such as cirrhosis, which dramatically shortens a person's life expectancy and quality. Moreover, alcohol affects nearly every system in the body. It can disrupt sleep patterns, leading to less restorative sleep, which in turn affects cognitive functions and overall physical health. It can also lead to an increase in blood pressure and contribute to the development of heart disease. On a cellular level, excessive alcohol consumption accelerates aging by impacting the length of telomeres, protective caps on our chromosomes that are linked to our lifespan. Each binge drinking session can actually shorten these caps, effectively speeding up the aging process. From a Stoic perspective, indulging in too much alcohol might be seen as surrendering to external pleasures that compromise our inner equilibrium and health. The very opposites of Stoic ideals. Stoicism teaches us to find joy and contentment in our internal states and rational thinking, not from external substances. It's often easy to overlook how integral social connections are to our well-being, especially in a world that increasingly values independence and self-sufficiency. Yet, in the hustle of striving to be self-reliant, we might inadvertently isolate ourselves, missing out on the profound benefits that come from regular social interactions. This concept aligns closely with Stoic principles, which, while often misinterpreted as promoting a solitary life, actually encourage forming meaningful relationships to enhance personal growth and emotional resilience. The Stoics believed in the power of community and the importance of supporting others as a way of cultivating virtue. Seneca, for example, wrote extensively about the benefits of friendship and social obligations, suggesting that true support between friends strengthens one's character and fortifies one against life's adversities. In contrast, isolation can lead to loneliness, which has been shown in numerous studies to increase the risk of mortality as much as smoking or obesity. It's not just about feeling alone, it's about the tangible impact that lack of social interaction can have on our physical and mental health. Socializing helps to ward off the cognitive decline associated with aging, boosts mood through the release of neurotransmitters like serotonin, and strengthens our immune system. It's as if our bodies are designed to interact, thriving on the shared experiences that help regulate our emotions and improve our psychological resilience. From a Stoic viewpoint, neglecting this aspect of our nature might be seen as ignoring the very essence of what it means to live a good life. When we drift through days, weeks, and even years without a clear direction or purpose, it can often feel like we're merely existing rather than truly living. This lack of purpose isn't just a philosophical dilemma. It affects our everyday happiness and overall well-being. The Stoics, wise as they were, believed fervently in living with intent and purpose. They saw this as essential not only to personal fulfillment, but also to contributing effectively to society. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often wrote about the importance of acting with a clear and honorable purpose, emphasizing that the quality of one's life improves dramatically when one's actions are aligned with well-considered goals and principles. Living without a clear purpose can lead to a form of existential stagnation, where time feels like it's slipping by unproductively. This can sap one's enthusiasm for life, leading to feelings of listlessness and dissatisfaction. The Stoics would argue that without a guiding purpose, it's easy to fall prey to petty annoyances and distractions that can dominate our thoughts and emotions. Purpose acts like a compass, guiding us through life's challenges with focus and resilience. It gives us a reason to rise each morning and face the day with vigor and determination. Having a sense of purpose is also linked to numerous health benefits, including better mental health, lower levels of stress, and even a longer lifespan. It contributes to our ability to adapt to change and overcome adversity. Just as a ship without a rudder is left to the mercy of the seas, a life without purpose is vulnerable to the whims of fortune. The Stoics understood this well and recommended that we define our values and align our actions accordingly. Many of us have a tendency to put off medical checkups, especially when we're feeling well. It's easy to brush these appointments aside, viewing them as unnecessary time away from our daily tasks or commitments. However, much like the Stoics advocated for a rational and proactive approach to life's challenges, prioritizing preventive healthcare can be seen as an exercise in wisdom and self-respect. Just as a Stoic would inspect their thoughts and behaviors regularly to align with their virtues, we too should inspect our physical health regularly to prevent potential issues from escalating. The Stoic philosophy teaches the importance of maintaining control over the things we can influence, and our health certainly falls within that realm. Regular medical checkups serve as a preventive measure, a way to catch potential health issues before they develop into serious problems. It's about respecting our body's needs and responding to them thoughtfully. This approach not only helps in maintaining our health, but also exemplifies the Stoic ideal of not yielding to negligence or ignorance. Skipping these checkups can often lead to a false sense of security. Without them, we might not be aware of the changes occurring in our bodies. Changes that, if caught early, could be addressed more easily and with better outcomes. Conditions like hypertension, diabetes, and many cancers can develop quietly, without obvious symptoms. By the time symptoms do appear, these conditions can be significantly more difficult to manage. In this digital age, it's all too easy to find ourselves glued to screens, whether it's for work or leisure. While technology certainly brings countless benefits, including connecting us with others and providing vast resources for learning, there's a downside that we often overlook. Spending too much time in front of screens can subtly erode our health and well-being, impacting everything from our sleep patterns to our mental clarity. The Stoics, ancient philosophers who valued discipline and moderation, would likely caution us against allowing any one tool, such as our digital devices, to dominate our lives. They taught the importance of maintaining a balanced life, one that includes physical activity, social interactions, and time for reflection, all of which can be compromised by excessive screen time. Just as they would advise against overindulgence in any pleasure, they would recommend we use technology wisely, ensuring it serves us without becoming our master. When we spend excessive time staring at screens, we often sacrifice physical health, mental space, and valuable time that could be spent engaging with the real world. This can lead to a host of issues, such as digital eye strain, poor posture, and disrupted sleep, as the blue light emitted by screens can interfere with our natural sleep cycles. More subtly, heavy screen use can also lead to a feeling of disconnection from our immediate environment and the people around us, contributing to feelings of isolation or loneliness. It might come as a surprise to think of laughter and fun as essential elements of a well-rounded, healthy life, especially from a philosophical standpoint like Stoicism, which is often misunderstood as austere or somber. However, the Stoics, including the likes of Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, emphasized the importance of joy and the role of positive emotions in fostering resilience against life's hardships. They recognized that laughter is not frivolous. It strengthens the spirit and fortifies us against the trials of life. In our modern lives, the hustle of daily responsibilities can sometimes make us forget the value of taking a moment to just laugh and enjoy simple pleasures. Laughter has been shown to have numerous health benefits. It can boost the immune system, decrease stress hormones, and increase endorphins, those chemicals in the brain that are known for their feel-good factor. Moreover, laughter enhances our intake of oxygen-rich air, stimulates the heart, lungs, and muscles, and increases the endorphins released by our brain, promoting an overall sense of well-being. From a Stoic viewpoint, neglecting the lighter side of life could be seen as neglecting a part of our human nature that is essential for our overall harmony and balance. Stoics believed in embracing all facets of human experience with wisdom and clarity, including the joyful ones. They would advocate for a life that does not shun laughter but welcomes it as a necessary ingredient for a soul well equipped to handle life's vicissitudes.